how do you feel about bridging that distance and telling your story out to the world?
One of the things that I often say to people who say you must feel so exposed or who have the sense that there's no difference between me and my story is you didn't just read my diary, and if you did, I'd have to kill you.
Right.
There's so much that goes into, I actually think good memoir is in many ways the act of transcending your life because you have to be able to see it in a way. You are discovering, but you're also attempting to see. Like when I was writing Inheritance, I thought, all right, this is the story that I got. I didn't ask for it. I'd like to send it back to the story store, but this has always been my story, and now I've discovered it. So what am I learning? What am I learning about otherness? What am I learning about identity? What am I learning about nature versus nurture? What am I learning about what makes a family or what makes a father? And I actually had to think about those things because the details of the story were so bonkers that I actually had to consider it. And to consider it, I was both inside of my story and transcending it and looking at it and shaping it and thinking, how is this going to do the ultimate work of any kind of story, which is connect to the reader?
Richard, did you feel a vulnerability when you put all that down, or you were just...
It's interesting because I also get the question even more so in poetry, which seems even more vulnerable. And I think transcendence, again, to echo that word again, is part of the process. But I do think that whether it's a poem or memoir, it kind of begins in almost this, needs to begin in this kind of selfish, passionate, it's my life, this happened to me, I need to understand this for myself. And through the art, through the discipline of craft, through shaping and forming, your artistic persona comes out, and it's almost like someone starts sitting right next to you and starts telling you your story. And in that way, you're able to process in a way that you wouldn't if you just stay in the moment, if you just stay in the pain, or if you just stay in the humor, or if you just stay in the memory. And I think, and so somewhere along that line that switches, and then I don't feel vulnerable because, in a poem either, because to me it's art. It's art, and until it becomes art, I do feel vulnerable, right? So my process is, how do I speak a truer truth to myself and to my reader? And then and it's a tricky thing because it's not like it's a made up me, but it's my other self, the self that knows the stuff that I didn't know. As I always say, my poems and my books are smarter than I ever am, right? And so in that way, the art has that nice barrier, and the art is the bridge, because when you do that, I think the reader's able to enter into your story as well, because the art invites them to look at themselves in the mirror, in the mirror of your life, and those two lives start blurring together in that one reflection of art.
No. And yeah, Kiese, so your memoir is to your mother. You write that you wanted to write a lie, and that this book was to essentially save both of your lives. But again, tell us about sort of it's still not easy for any of you to kind of put it down.
Put the words down?
Yes.
Oh, no. Do any of y'all think it's easy to put the words down? I guess we should start by saying that that's bullshit. Can we cuss at Aspen?
Yes.
I forgot that.
I said yes, and we're doing it.
I forgot to ask.
I don't think anyone's going to bleep you out either.
Nah, for me, the artfulness and rigor of what we do is part of how we can get close to honesty. I'm still not sure what the truth is. As a memoirist, we talked this morning, Danny, for a while, and we didn't really use the word truth that much. Yeah. Though I think a lot of people who come to memoir expect a particular kind of truth. But for me, I, like everybody else in this room, I have what I think was the truth of my upbringing, but my mother's upbringing, but my grandmother's upbringing. But for me, I had to talk to them about what my memory told me, compare that to what their memory told them, and then artfully try to render that with some form of integrity.